Brian White, I was mentioning multiple times on this channel that my neighbor just got a new Model Y3 with FSD. And this morning, as I was doing my walk, I ran into both the husband and then separately, I ran into his wife. And both of them were talking about how complicated it was. And of course, I said, well, yeah, it's like getting a new computer. It takes a minute to, figure out all the ways that the computer works and all the new cool stuff that you have. I said, just, it just takes a few minutes of being, butts in seat, and it'll all become clear over a little bit of time. But you and I this morning we ran across a story that I had to share. I could not share this with my audience because I think it's hilarious, and maybe other people will as well. Brian, what did you think?
It's a doozy, Randy.
Uh,
It's a doozy. It's loaded to the gills with absolutely embarrassing things that I would not admit in an article. And if I submitted it, I would hope that an editor would look at it and say, "Ugh, you sure you want to publish this? Because it makes you look."
So here we go. So the Model Y, this is from Business Insider, by the way. The Model Y was unlike, I'm sorry, I didn't start at the top. I used to usually start a story at the beginning. In August, I planned to drive from the Bay Area to Los Angeles County and back to help my friend move. The catch, we needed to drive two cars. And so we would be, taking one and leaving the other. We needed a rental car that had sufficient storage space and would not rack up a big gas bill. So the friend suggested a Tesla Model Y because its driver assistance technology would make the 7-hour trek south, my first long distance drive, easier.
hmm
Hmm.
hmm So can we pause there and I'll say, if you're using public chargers in California, it's not going to be a big savings over gas.
Really?
Uh, no, no, because California electricity rates are high. And when you've got the peaks that some charging stations pull, it makes the rates unfairly high. You're going to be looking at never less than 35 cents, typically more like 50 cents, which is going to put it on par with gas.
With gasoline in California?
Yeah, with gas in California.
California
Yeah.
gas is really high.
Yeah. For this drive, I would have told them to get a Pacifica hybrid
Okay.
because if you want space in the vehicle to move,
Yeah.
that's got more of it. But okay, all right, great. But the autonomy will make it a better drive, an easier drive.
Right, right. So she says, I don't have my own vehicle. And before the trip, I'd never driven a fully electric car, much less, of course, an autonomous one.
Mhm.
And I don't think she didn't use the autonomy. She just used I think she only used the autopilot.
She didn't. Yes, that comes up in a minute.
Right. So she says she's driven hybrids, rentals, etc. Then the Model Y was unlike any of the things I'd ever used before. I found myself struggling with the vehicles for all the reasons that make Tesla beloved.
Mm.
The Model Y was equipped with autopilot, but not full self-driving, which requires a $99 subscription. Renting it for 2 days on Turo costs $334.
That's pretty steep.
I'm going to start renting mine out. That's
Well,
160.
that's including standard insurance. The author points out that she does not have a car, so she probably doesn't have her own
Oh,
insurance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But still, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, I would rent mine out for 100 a day.
Mm.
I was nervous about driving a car with an unfamiliar system and scared of being stranded on the side of the road with a dead battery. So I spent the week leading up to the trip bringing Model Y tutorials, binging on Model Y tutorials at YouTube and plotting out a careful route with,
So I'm going to tell you right now, no, you didn't. Because if you'd have watched more than one video, what you would have learned is put in your destination and it'll tell you where to go.
yeah.
So no, you didn't.
And,
No, you didn't.
and the second video that she would have watched would have said, California has more superchargers than you know what to do with. I mean, they're everywhere.
Right. Right.
Well, she brought her friend to pick it up at the location because I kept imagining scenarios where I couldn't unlock the car, manage to start it, or somehow get stuck inside since the doors are electric. I've always wondered, Brian, how you could ever get stuck inside of a car, you know?
It, it, uh, yeah, I'll tell you what the problem is. I think the author has been busy reading articles about Tesla on Business Insider.
Yeah, that's probably the problem. Yes, yes. I brought my friend. Oops, wait a minute. None of these dreaded scenarios happened. She says
Wow.
manifested, but that's too big a word for me. I would never say manifested. Once I slid inside the blue Model Y and the door clicked shut with a tiny buzz, I found the vehicle to be unlike anything I've driven before. Now, there, we should pull that sentence out, and that should be Tesla's, their headline on the ads that they're going to run at the Super Bowl.
What's the tiny buzz?
Well, I don't know what the tiny buzz was.
Maybe that's the window ceiling. I
This
don't know.
doesn't actually have a tiny buzz, but the part about being unlike anything,
Yeah.
I think that's what people feel like when they first get into a Tesla. It's like, what? I'm just, they're completely shocked. She says the gearbox rather, the gearbox is located next to the wheel at a lever where you would normally activate your windshield wipers, and it only took one lap around the parking lot for the car's one pedal mode to short circuit my muscle memory. Okay, now I've only done this with two people, myself and my wife. Myself and my wife. It took less than 5 minutes, and she's never been in a golf cart. At least I've been in a golf cart years ago.
Hmm. So,
I, both of
yeah,
us, less than 5 minutes to be completely comfortable with the uh, regenerative
one
braking.
pedal
Yeah.
driving. When I drove a Tesla for the first time, it's on camera, it's on my channel if anyone wants to see it. I was in my late 40s, and the first thing I did was pull out to the end of the driveway and stop suddenly because I wasn't accustomed to one pedal. We came up on the stop sign. I stopped short of the stop sign because I wasn't used to it. And every stop after that was fine.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of someone struggling that much, but okay.
Digging into the computer, this is Randy speaking, not her. Digging into the computer and finding all the ways the computer, you navigate around the computer. That takes more than a few times. But
Mhm.
the one pedal driving, that was like super simple. She says the interior also has no buttons, and although the sleek design is loved by many, it took a while to adjust to the basics such as the airflow. Okay. And the door mirrors. I agree with her on the door mirrors. That took me a minute. I always have to go back and find them again. But now that it's set up with my settings, I don't have to worry about that. But the airflow? That's like the
Yeah.
easiest thing ever.
Yeah. And I'll say that I'd like the cars to have a rental mode where when you get in, it says first time,
Yeah.
give me just two choices. First time ever, and just set up my mirrors and positions and all that. And that would be ideal.
Yeah, I agree with
Uh,
you 100%.
yeah, because there's a lot of people who don't. And the first time button could have layers. It could have layers for the people who are saying, I planned my route meticulously to avoid running out of battery. Come on, honey, what are you doing? Um, but then again, she did binge YouTube videos.
That's true. She did.
Maybe her definition of binge is much leaner than the traditional one. So
Yeah.
yeah, no buttons, sleek design. Um, that's all true. Fine. Please continue.
After changing the braking system to what Tesla calls creep mode, that's a very bad thing to put in there in this program, in this particular article. A way to use both pedals. It was getting late. We had to be on our way. Never even heard of creep mode or the fact that you could set it to use both pedals. What is she even talking about? Do you know?
So it's I don't know if it's still offered or if it was only on certain vehicles. I think they got rid of it because it allows you to get higher EPA rating when you're using the full regenerative braking. Creep is when you take your foot off the brake, the car kind of rolls.
Huh?
It inches forward as if you're in an automatic transmission gas vehicle and it's grabbing a little bit and moving you forward. So that was something that they had creep, roll, and one pedal,
I see.
and roll is more like a manual transmission where you just kind of free roll. Uh, but if this driver prefers creep mode, congratulations, the vehicle had it.
Well, her first stretch of the drive was slow but smooth, And she really appreciated the amazing Model Y sound system, which emphasizes the bass. Can that be changed? I don't, unfortunately, I really don't spend enough time in my car to have set it up for music. Can't you make it more treble, more bass? I mean,
Oh no, she said she liked it,
oh, she liked the bass. So she,
especially good in the Model Y sound system,
all
which
right.
emphasized the bass. There's a subwoofer. It's a good sound system.
So she wanted to stop for sushi at a strip mall.
Yeah, we gotta. I mean, Randy, this is a technology article. We have to talk about the sushi at the strip mall. It was uninspiring.
And it took me 15 minutes to wedge my car into the only charging port left between a
My gosh, do you know
fire
how many
truck.
YouTube videos she could binge in that time? 15 minutes.
It's,
I think you are either lying
yeah,
or you shouldn't be behind the wheel of a car.
no kidding, between a huge Cybertruck and a bush. But at least the vehicle charged quickly. I stopped it at 85%, and then they made their way out down the road again.
Quick question. Why are you protecting the battery lifespan of a rental car?
Yeah, no kidding. She's just being kind. She,
Sure.
she,
You know what? As if I were to be the owner, I would appreciate that. But they are robust. You're not going to really cause that much harm. But okay.
well, okay. Now listen, she is honest. We find out in the next paragraph that she is an honest person. She says, "I am not a great driver,
Oof. I mean, she already said that with the 15-minute thing, but okay.
and I'm sensitive to sudden sounds. It
Mm.
startled me every time that the vehicle started to sound alarms and flash blue lights when I veered from the center lane or touched a white line. I understand it's meant to be loud enough to wake somebody up who might be falling asleep, but I swerved when startled by the sound."
Why are you driving over the white line?
It's,
Turn on autopilot. Turn it on.
well, then she says, on occasions when I turned on autopilot, the car kept warning me to move the steering wheel a little, but if I moved just a hair too much, the function became disabled.
I can agree with that. That was a problem I had my first week of ownership is finding the right amount of torque. Took some getting used to. But what year is it? A vehicle that it doesn't have the interior camera? Does the interior camera not work on autopilot? I guess I should test that.
That's
Um, but okay, fair. I think that's a fair complaint.
okay. My biggest complaint, her biggest of all, is that Tesla's system didn't allow her to use CarPlay in order to, but not because of CarPlay. And I went into a dealership one time and talked to one of the salesmen, service people, whatever they call them. And this sales guy said, yeah, the number one complaint we get is that people want CarPlay. But it wasn't because of her reason. Her reason is she wanted to be able to project Google or Apple Maps from her phone to the screen. The Tesla map does not pivot or orient itself in a way that mimics the driver's directional perspective, and it can't be zoomed in enough to display details like a small traffic circle on the road. And you say,
Oof. Whoa, my. So if I get it, you want Google Maps. Good news, it has Google Maps. You want to zoom in? You just use it like your phone. You want to change the orientation? You can. There's a button. Maybe you didn't, but it defaults to showing you the map in that. Oh, you know what? It probably, if she was using autopilot, it might have gone to full screen visualization instead of the map.
yeah,
So the thing is, when I had my first drive, I had a tour guide. Whenever someone wants to do a drive, will let me let them drive. I treat it the same way Larry treated me, which is to sit in the passenger seat and explain to you one feature at a time until you understand it and then move on to the next feature. Okay, now what you're going to do is, pull the stock to activate FSD or whatever the next feature might be. I will say, tap that microphone and say, play such and such on Spotify or navigate to a place and boom, it's done. So if she'd have just tapped the mic and said, navigate to all the way to my destination, all the chargers would have been added. But, here we are.
she says Tesla also had a proprietary infotainment system, and it is often considered the king of car software when it comes to navigation and warning systems. It's considered the king of car software for way, way more than those two things. The system is what many purchased the Tesla for. I actually bought it for the farts.
Hmm.
It is not a good match for my need for distractions and crystal clear directions.
So here's a neat thing, Randy. I don't know if you know this. Did you know you can go in and enable voice directions or disable voice directions? So in navigation, it can say, even if you're not the one driving, even if it's FSD driving, it can say, um, enter the roundabout and take the second exit to the
Hmm.
right. Uh, but you can disable that, which I've done because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm happy to look at the map, but most of the time you're driving, so I don't need you to walk me through what you're doing. Um, all of it's configurable, which is great. And you only configure it once, and then you save it to your profile. So there you go.
She says that she went the wrong way many times, and I had to pull over to the side of the 101 because the Tesla map did not immediately reroute me after I missed an exit. Um,
Doubt. Doubt. I'm putting on my doubt hat because I do not believe that. Do you believe that? Does that match your experience?
Oh no, in fact, I think I've told the story before, but my funniest experience ever in a Tesla was that it did miss an exit, but it missed the exit because there was tremendous amount of road work and
Mm.
big major division of the highways, the freeways going in all different directions, and there was work being done. And so it missed it. It took the very next exit, and when it got off at the exit, it pulled onto the shoulder. And I thought, what are you doing? And it looked like a human in the way that it was like, let me see, which way do I go now? And then it got back on the street and kept going. It was the weirdest thing I've
Huh.
ever seen.
That's wild. I had one recently where we were coming back from an event, and I think it missed the interchange on the highway because it got off the highway, took a weird little side street, and got back on the other highway. And I was like, you missed your turn, didn't you? But I wasn't paying attention. And
Uh-huh.
if I wasn't in the car, if it was out as a robo taxi, I would never have known. If I'd have sent it empty to my destination to meet me or to deliver something, would I know that it did that? Would I care? So no, I've had my navigation. I've had the old school navigation, my Garmin mess up in ways that made me want to chuck it in a river. But I'm too kind to fish to do that. I don't, yeah, okay.
So after all of that, and this is amazing that these next paragraphs exist in Business Insider.
Well, I would point out a driver in a pickup truck slowed down as he passed me and gestured to see if I needed help. Did he, uh, did he ask you if you needed the 411, but only show you the 1 fingers?
Well, anyway, she has a verdict. She has a verdict. I would potentially choose a Tesla Model Y again for my next long distance trip, notably because of its cost efficiency.
Okay.
It is not more expensive to rent a Tesla than a regular car or any other EV. It isn't? Okay. But renting a Tesla would cut our gas costs in half,
Well,
right?
she needed something with space. So
Yeah.
she's not going to be,
Oh, I
she's
see.
comparing it
I
to
see.
a plus sized
Right.
vehicle, not a compact.
Right. Well, she says on Saturday, I only spent $46 on charging, and that was after many unwanted detours. The charging time was reasonable, and it was healthy to stop every couple of hours to stretch my legs and grab a coffee.
That's amazing. So, now that I think about it, while it is expensive to charge, 46 for 7 hours plus of driving is quite reasonable. So I might be thinking of just like San Diego summer rates
Oh, yeah. Okay.
on chargers,
Yeah.
and it depends a lot on where you are. And if I'm thinking if this is I'm guessing this is a San Fran to LA kind of route.
Yes.
Um, there are a lot of more affordable options. And this is quite a testament. And the reality is, the next time she's in it, she'll know the answer to almost all the questions. She'll know how to adjust the mirror. She'll know how to change the regen setting. And hopefully, next time she rents one with FSD.
That's right. So she says if I were to plan a route to Southern California again, I would choose to stay on the I-5. And it's much more of a straight shot instead of going on
Mhm.
one, which is a pretty
Beautiful.
but curvy and a little more, goes through some towns and whatnot. The I-5 is pretty much a straight shot, she says. Anyway, I would also buy a clip-on phone holder to mount my phone on the top of the touchscreen so I can use Google Maps. No,
Well,
she would get.
I would appreciate an opportunity to meet up with this author and give her the Sherpa experience. You're behind the wheel, I'm in the passenger seat, and let me talk you through it, and you can ask me anything. If the car had grok, you could ask it how to do the things you want it to do and probably get the right answers. It might vary a little depending on the year of the vehicle. If you look at the article at the top, you'll see the front end has substantial road wear in terms of dings and whatnot. So it's a older Model Y with a lot of miles on it. But I think even with all those frustrations, I think the author recognized that they might be limited to her personal experience. But before publishing the article, I would have talked to someone. I would have shown it to a Tesla owner and said, "Is this a good article? Am I crazy?"
Well,
Um,
the fun part is the last line. The jury is still out on whether I would buy a Tesla, new or used. When or if Elon Musk decides to release what he calls a more affordable Model Y, I will revisit the question. So even after all that frustration, she recognized the car as being something that was still very much in her potential purchase category for later.
if you'd have charged it at home, you would have it would have cost a quarter of that to juice up, maybe a tenth of it. And so, well, yeah, but on road trips, I'm not at home. I know, but uh, you're not always on road trips. If you're always on road trips, your math is going to be different. Most people do most of their driving within charging distance of home. When I'm on the road, a lot of people say, "Oh, swing by my house, just plug in. I don't care."
Ah,
Because I'm going to cost them 25 cents, 30 cents for the time I'm there at most. And when people are on road trips, I tell them to come to my house because, hey, man, if I can trick you into hanging out with me for 30 cents, I'm going to do it. So it's, you know, and for that matter, there are still a lot of libraries and supermarkets that invite you to charge free.
yeah.
They just want you there because they're not going to give you level two charging or level three charging, but they will give you level two charging. You're not going to juice all the way up. But over the course of the hour you might be grocery shopping, you might pick up 30, 40, 50 miles. That's worth it.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, anyway, I thought it was a fun article. Again, you're right. She will probably be subject to ridicule. But
And I apologize to Catherine for as harsh as I've been. I just really, it's not as an EV advocate that these articles frustrate me. It's as an author because I would not have published this.
yeah. But you do publish things from time to time. I think you're publishing a book with me or something. I don't know.
There's a rumor about that. I haven't seen any confirmation.
I don't know. A couple of weeks away, I think. We're just at that finishing point, the final edits this week, and maybe we're going to be sending it off to Amazon to turn it into a real book. So
I'm
we'll
going to be in Texas for the shareholder meeting at the beginning of November, um, and I will have some with me. So if you want to get it signed, you can get one in advance, and I'll sign it there. And if you forgot to get one in advance, I'll have some in my pocket.
There you go. That's right. You have a large pocket. Brian, follow Brian at Future Aza. And and that's for X, that's for YouTube, that's for his Patreon. That's everywhere that you could possibly imagine that he would be hanging out. Brian, thanks as always for jumping on. And to all of you out there, it has been great talking to you.